Hi, nice to see you again. I am Dr. Chengzi the Orange. Today we'll discuss the history, present, and future of kidney transplants. Do you like horror movies? I recently watched a psychological horror thriller, Get Out 2017, directed by Jordan Peele. In the story, a young black man named Chris visits the family estate of his white girlfriend, Rose, and uncovers a disturbing secret. The family pretends to be welcoming but actually targets him for his body, his brain, and organs. Rose's family has been luring black individuals to their home using her beauty, hypnotizing them through the psychiatrist mother, and transplanting their organs through the neurosurgeon father. Chris eventually escapes with the help of his cop friend. During the chaos, he burns down the mansion, kills all the villains from the family, and leaves Rose bleeding on the road. The movie was astonishingly well made and breathtaking. However, I found the depiction of extraordinary brain transplant techniques a bit funny. In real life, the most commonly transplanted organ is the kidney, although liver, heart, lung, pancreas, and intestine transplants are also widely carried out globally. Other organs like the face, hand, uterus, and even penis have been successfully transplanted as well. As for tissues, transplants of the corneal, retina, skin, bone, tendon, and bone marrow are routine. The brain, however, has never been successfully transplanted in humans. Why is the kidney the most successfully transplanted organ? The kidney has several advantages over other organs. First, humans normally have two kidneys. Even if one is removed, the remaining kidney can handle most of the work, making kidneys an ideal donor source. Second, dialysis can temporarily replace kidney function, giving patients a survival option while awaiting a transplant. This contrasts with other organs like the heart or liver, where failure requires urgent transplantation, creating enormous challenges regarding timing, donor availability, and medical logistics. Third, the kidney's blood supply and ureter, the tube that drains urine, are relatively easy to connect surgically compared to the complex connections needed for the heart or liver. Kidneys are also located at the back of the abdomen, making them relatively easier to access surgically. However, even with these advantages, physicians and researchers struggled for over 100 years to achieve the first successful kidney transplant. One major obstacle was how to re-establish a good blood supply in the transplanted kidney, as poor blood flow led to the failure of many early transplants. Only after Alexis Carrel, a surgeon from the United States, established the concepts of vascular anastomoses, suturing blood vessels together without leakage or clotting, did kidney autografts finally succeed, albeit first in cats and dogs. For his achievements in vascular suturing and tissue matching, Carrel was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1912. From then on, more kidney transplantations in animals were performed, and human organ transplantations were attempted as well. However, because the immunologic mechanisms were not fully understood, and immune suppressant medications like steroids and azathioprine had not yet been developed, all recipients died within days to weeks due to immune rejection, infection, or vascular failure. The first successful human kidney transplant. On December 23, 1954, human history welcomed another major breakthrough. Kidney transplant was successfully performed between identical twin brothers at Brigham Hospital, Boston, by Joseph Murray, J. Hartwell Harrison, and John P. Merrill. Ronald Herrick donated a healthy kidney to his twin brother Richard Herrick, who had end-stage renal failure. Richard lived a normal life for 8 more years before dying of unrelated causes. Ronald, the donor, lived a full life, passing away at age 79. The surgeon Joseph Murray was awarded the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 1990 for this achievement. Why not Hartwell Harrison and John Merrill? Sadly, they both passed away in 1984 and could not be awarded posthumously even if they had been considered. Identical twins, monozygotic twins, result from a single fertilized egg splitting into 2 embryos. They share identical genetic material, and they make up only about 0.3% of the world's population. Thus, it's impossible to rely on identical twins alone for organ transplantation. In most kidney transplants, the donor and recipient are genetically distant or completely unrelated. In these cases, immune rejection becomes a serious hurdle. Fighting immune rejection. Between the 1950s and 1990s, to reduce immune rejection, physicians and researchers developed many strategies either to cheat or to calm down the recipient's immune system, helping the body accept transplanted organs. To cheat the immune system, an early strategy known as developing immune tolerance was like teaching the body. This new organ is part of you, please accept it. Early strategies included bone marrow transplants, spleen cell infusions, and thymus tissue transplants from the donor to the recipient in advance, hoping to introduce the new organ more gently. Although many of these strategies were risky and experimental, they opened the door to the more precise and safer ways of building immune tolerance that doctors are still improving today. As for calming down the immune system, in 1953, Peter Bryan Medawar, often called the father of transplantation, attempted to suppress immune responses using total body irradiation. Of course, this method came with a very high cost to the rest of the body. Fortunately, doctors soon made major breakthroughs by introducing powerful drugs like azathioprine and later cyclosporine, often combined with steroids, creating a synergistic immunosuppressive effect that successfully prevented the immune system from rejecting transplanted organs. This idea was a true game changer, allowing thousands of successful organ transplants to take place. Today, standard immune suppression for kidney transplant patients typically combines three types of drugs: a calcineurin inhibitor, such as tacrolimus, an antiproliferative agent, and low-dose steroids, to prevent the immune system from attacking the new kidney while minimizing side effects. Kidney transplant matters. Once doctors learned how to control immune rejection, kidney transplantation quickly became the essential treatment for patients with end-stage chronic kidney disease. Although there's a relatively high risk of complications during the first 30 days after surgery, those risks drop significantly after the first year. In the long run, patients who receive a kidney transplant have much better outcomes compared to those who stay on dialysis. Transplant recipients tend to survive about 60% longer within 1 to 5 years after their surgery. And those who get a transplant before starting dialysis may live an incredible 15 to 20 years longer. Beyond survival, kidney transplant patients generally enjoy a much better quality of life, with fewer dietary restrictions and more freedom to return to normal daily activities. Plus, transplanted kidneys restore more natural physiological functions and metabolic balance compared to what dialysis can provide. While kidney transplants bring hope to millions, donor shortage remains an increasingly challenging problem. In the early years between 1950 and 2020, transplant surgeons mostly used kidneys from deceased donors whose hearts had already stopped beating, cardiac death donors, DCD. However, time was the enemy. Every minute without blood flow damaged the organs, making many early transplants a race against the clock. In the late 1960s, a major breakthrough came: the recognition of brain death. This allowed doctors to recover kidneys from patients whose brains had irreversibly shut down, but whose hearts were still pumping, keeping the organs healthier. Preserving kidneys outside the body was also a huge challenge. Originally, donated organs had to be used quickly and locally, as preserving them for long periods was difficult. Today, thanks to advanced preservation techniques, organs can safely travel longer distances to find the best matches. Methods such as static cold storage, where the organ is packed on ice to slow its metabolism, machine perfusion, which actively pumps cold or warm fluids through the kidney to keep it healthier, and normothermic regional perfusion, which restores oxygenated blood flow to organs from circulatory death donors before removal, have significantly improved preservation. Studies show that machine perfusion, especially when oxygen is added, greatly reduces complications and improves transplant outcomes, even when using kidneys from older or higher risk donors. Despite all the progress we've made, a lot of donated kidneys are still turned down because of concerns about the donor's health. But new research shows that many of these kidneys could actually work just fine. For example, kidneys from donors who had acute kidney injury, AKI, often recover and function well over the long term. Kidneys from donors with hepatitis C or B are now routinely transplanted thanks to powerful antiviral treatments that protect recipients. Remarkably, HIV-positive donors can now safely give kidneys to HIV-positive recipients. On top of that, kidneys from donors with a high kidney donor profile index, or KDPI, meaning they're older or have other health issues, can still make a huge difference, especially for older patients. With a better understanding and greater acceptance of these so-called higher-risk kidneys, we could save many more lives that would otherwise be left waiting. Current progress and ongoing challenges. Although there have been many advances, kidney shortage remains a global issue. Taking the US as an example, in 2024, a minimum of 27,332 kidney transplants were performed, a 1.6% increase from the previous year. Still, nearly 90,000 individuals remain on the waiting list. Notably, living kidney transplantation offers better outcomes and shorter wait times. In 2024, there were 6,418 living donor kidney transplants in the US, making up roughly 1 in 4 kidney transplants. Most living donor surgeries today are done using laparoscopic techniques, making recovery easier and faster for donors. Given the dire shortage, it's unfortunately not surprising that some people seek kidneys through illegal means. Although buying and selling human organs is illegal and widely condemned, a black market for organs still thrives. It's estimated that about 10% of kidney transplants from living donors involve illegal payments. The largest active illegal organ markets today are in parts of Asia, including India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Iran. Meanwhile, transplant tourists, patients from wealthier nations or areas such as the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, Saudi Arabia, Israel, South Korea, Malaysia, Oman, and Taiwan, often travel abroad in search of quicker access to organ transplants. Leading destination countries for this type of medical travel include China, India, the Philippines, and Pakistan. As long as extreme inequality exists, and as long as brokers and facilitators profit, organ trafficking will remain difficult to eliminate. The good news is that organizations like the World Health Organization, WHO, have taken major steps to fight back against the illegal organ trade. They've worked hard to promote transparency and encourage voluntary donation, pushed for a global ban on organ sales, and supported important initiatives like the 2008 Declaration of Istanbul, which directly targets transplant tourism and organ trafficking. They also continue to urge countries to tighten their transplant regulations and do more to protect vulnerable populations from exploitation. A glimpse into the future, xenotransplantation. To confront the global organ shortage, scientists are boldly pushing the frontiers of medicine with human xenotransplantation, the transplantation of animal organs into human patients. Since late 2021, a series of groundbreaking procedures has thrust this once distant idea into the spotlight. In several pioneering studies, pig kidneys and hearts have been transplanted into brain-dead patients, offering crucial insights into how these organs perform in the human body. On January 7th, 2022, surgeons at the University of Maryland Medical Center made history by transplanting a 10-gene edited pig heart into a living patient who survived for 2 months after the surgery. Then, on November 25th, 2024, at NYU Langone Health, another milestone was reached. A patient received a genetically modified pig kidney and lived with it for an astonishing 130 days before the organ was eventually removed due to rejection. While major challenges still lie ahead, these remarkable advances fuel real hope that xenotransplantation could one day transform how we tackle the global organ shortage. We're coming to the end of today's video. In our next episode, we'll explore the fascinating world of immune rejection in kidney transplants and how science continues to fight this ongoing battle. Thank you for watching. See you soon.